Welcome to Pasadena Monthly. I'm your host, Justin Chapman. Thanks for being here. After taking a look at what's been going on in Pasadena this past month, we'll speak with our guest, Nikki, owner of the new bookstore featuring BIPOC authors, Octavia's Bookshelf. But before we get started, let's check out these Pasadena news briefs.
July 15th, 2023 saw the return of the Pasadena Heritage Colorado Street Bridge Party. Due to the pandemic, the historic fundraising event has not taken place for 5 years. This year's return brought music, dancing, food, and fun to the Colorado Street Bridge once again. In addition to numerous stages, there were food trucks, vendors, craft beer, and a featured custom car show. "I feel great about this celebration," said Pasadena Mayor Victor Gordo. "It's also an opportunity to celebrate our city and our community. People from all walks of life are here, just enjoying the natural beauty and our beautiful bridge." The next Colorado Street Bridge Party will be in 2025. Tuesday, July 4th, 2023. There was record-breaking attendance at the Rose Bowl for the Major League Soccer match between LA Galaxy and Los Angeles Football Club. The game replaced the AmericaFest fireworks show at the Rose Bowl for the first time in almost a century. 82,110 fans attended the game, a Major League Soccer attendance record. The sold-out event was a rematch that had been rescheduled from February 25th due to weather conditions. This year's absence of the traditional AmericaFest fireworks show at the Rose Bowl comes after years of financial decline made worse by the pandemic and debt, in addition to diminished attendance, resulting in financial loss of roughly $500,000. In contrast, Tuesday's success is expected to bring hundreds of thousands of dollars and is part of the stadium's expanded strategy to diversify future events. On Thursday, June 22nd, the La Pintoresca Branch Library celebrated the birthday of renowned science fiction author Octavia Butler. The event involved an educational presentation about Butler's life and work, inspired art activities for children, and an unveiling of a new portrait. The black and white portrait was created by Pascal Rain, who has exhibited his artwork at the Hastings Branch Library in the past. Anne-Marie Kolakowski of the La Pintoresca branch said, "Despite the limitations in colors, this portrait radiates a warmth through the way the artist perfectly captures Butler's smile and her eyes. The portrait can be easily seen when entering the library, and it is located near the adult science fiction section, along with a sign explaining Butler's connection to the La Pintoresca branch library. She used to walk here often after school when she was attending Washington Junior High School, which was recently renamed for her."
On a personal note, last month I won 2 first-place journalism awards from the LA Press Club, a 3rd-place award, and 2 finalist positions that were related to this show. So thank you for watching, and thanks for your support. Let's turn next to our lightning round of news updates. 1. The Pasadena Unified School District Board of Education unanimously appointed Dr. Elizabeth Blanco as interim superintendent. She has been PUSD's deputy superintendent since 2022 and has served at the district for 9 years. She succeeds Dr. Brian McDonald, who left the district at the end of June after 9 years as superintendent, one of the longest serving the district has ever had. The board will continue to look for a permanent appointment. 2. The City Council has extended the contract of Pasadena's independent police auditor, Dr. Richard Rosenthal, for another year. The auditor advises the Community Police Oversight Commission, reviews use of force incidents by Pasadena police officers, reviews investigations of personnel complaints of bias-based policing, and recommends changes to the department's policies, procedures, and training. Rosenthal recently issued his first report with 10 recommendations on improving use of force investigations and continues to work on an assessment of internal affairs cases and the handling of community complaints. The Oversight Commission unanimously endorsed Rosenthal's contract extension and said he has been collaborative and beyond helpful. Commissioners also elected Esprit Lauren Jones as the commission's new chair and re-elected Juliana Serrano as vice chair. 3. This month, City Council endorsed recommendations from the Pasadena Public Health Department to increase public outreach services about coyotes, improve local coyote reporting systems, convene a panel of coyote experts to improve our collective understanding of effective approaches, hire a consultant to conduct a field study where community concerns are heightened, support residents to strengthen their properties against coyote intrusion, and collaborate with neighboring cities and the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments Coyote Task Force to address coyote concerns. In doing so, council rejected some residents' calls for the city to follow Torrance's lead in adopting lethal trapping methods to reduce the coyote population, because staff reported that available studies show such methods are ineffective in that they lead to rapid reproduction of coyotes, known as the rebound effect. Under state law, trapped coyotes cannot be relocated and must be either released where trapped or euthanized. However, Pasadena can trap and kill a coyote if there is a confirmed unprovoked attack on a human. Staff will implement the newly approved non-lethal measures and report back to Public Safety Committee in 6 months. All coyote sightings should be reported by calling 626-744-7311. The Pasadena Humane Society will continue to respond to attacks and aggressive, habituated coyote behavior and can be reached at 626-792-7151. 4, the LA County Board of Supervisors threw their support behind Congresswoman Judy Chu's bill calling on President Joe Biden to add 109,000 acres of public lands to the San Gabriel Mountains National Monument by using a proclamation under the Antiquities Act of 1906. The existing national monument was established by former President Barack Obama in 2014 and contains more than 345,000 acres. Rep. Chu's bill, the San Gabriel Mountains Protection Act, would expand the national monument to the west, designate 31,000 acres as new or expanded protected wilderness, and add more than 45 miles of protected rivers to the National Wild and Scenic River System. 5, Pasadena Water and Power expanded its energy portfolio after City Council agreed to purchase geothermal energy from Calpine Corporation's Geysers Power Company in Lake County, California, beginning on January 1st, 2027. The 15-year, 25-megawatt, $312 million deal, combined with an earlier geothermal deal, means geothermal power may provide 25% of the city's retail energy needs, which, considering Pasadena currently sources over half of its energy needs from fossil fuel sources, would be a big step towards accomplishing the city's commitment to use 100% carbon-free electricity by 2030. Pasadena Water and Power is currently updating its Power Integrated Resource Plan to meet those goals. 6, the city's housing department has released a request for proposals for a bad weather shelter operator that can operate a low barrier, safe, and supportive congregate emergency shelter to single adults experiencing homelessness to protect them from inclement weather. The department is requesting proposals from nonprofit organizations to operate an overnight and a 24-hour shelter program. The city has not had a bad weather shelter since before the pandemic. 7, Caltrans has provided a list of 17 addresses of vacant single-family properties that the State Transportation Agency plans to sell to the city of Pasadena. The city's housing department accepted bids from residential real estate listing brokers earlier this month for the disposition of those houses. The city will likely sell the majority of those homes at market rate in as-is condition, and the net proceeds will go toward building affordable housing throughout the city, as stipulated under state law. Meanwhile, Caltrans has begun sending notice of solicitation letters to current tenants of occupied houses, giving them 30 days to respond whether they plan to purchase their house at an affordable rate, market rate, keep renting under the eventual new owner, or none of these and move out. Caltrans has sent these letters to at least 22 Pasadena addresses of houses occupied by longtime tenants, thus starting the long-anticipated sales process of these homes. Tenants deemed eligible for an affordable purchase price will then have 60 days to submit substantial financial documentation, among other requirements. Tenants and tenant advocates are concerned that Caltrans will preemptively disqualify many tenants from purchasing their house at an affordable rate because they're, quote, too poor to purchase, though they say that should not be up to Caltrans, as that's not a determinant in state regulations, and that the California Housing Finance Authority has said they'll provide loans to low or moderate income Caltrans tenants. 8, the city recently declared the shuttered St. Luke's Hospital a public nuisance and called for the owner to clean up the historic property, which has fallen into disrepair and become a target for vandalism, graffiti, and break-ins, resulting in nearly 100 police service calls over the past year. The owner has now begun cleaning up the property and rectifying the issues that resulted in citations from the city. The hospital was built in 1933 and closed in 2002. 9, Pasadena City College has closed its satellite campus in Rosemead, which it's used since 2013. The owner of the property, the El Monte Union High School District, decided not to renew PCC's lease following months of negotiations. The district originally planned to expand its adult education program on the property, but a new school board majority in January reconsidered the renewal of PCC's lease, which was set to expire. The change led to political infighting as one of the board members who was in favor of extending PCC's lease, teaches at PCC. And so parents accused her of a conflict of interest, launched a recall campaign, and filed a complaint with the Fair Political Practices Commission. She abstained from the lease renewal vote, which resulted in a tie, and thus the lease was not renewed. The college is now actively looking for a new location for its satellite Rosemead campus. And 10, Pasadena will submit a grant application for the Recreational Trails Program for $500,000 for the planning and construction of the One Arroyo Critical Linkages Project. The project seeks to restore, enhance, and connect the 22 miles of trail along the Arroyo Seco, where significant deterioration has caused the trail to become non-contiguous, difficult to navigate, and in some areas, inaccessible and unsafe. Let's patch in our guest, Nikki. Hi, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Earlier this year, Nikki opened Octavia's Bookshelf, a bookstore dedicated to BIPOC authors, after leaving her communications job at Trader Joe's. So, Nikki, can you start by telling us what led you to establish Octavia's Bookshelf? It must have been both a scary but also exciting decision to leave your job, a steady paycheck and job security, and then start a new business and follow that dream.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been an avid reader, and I feel really safe and happy around books. And during the lockdown, I think we were all just trying to figure out what's next. My default has always been really happy, and I wondered if I can be happier. And instantly I thought of, I think every reader's dream at some point is to have my own bookstore. And I just, started to think about time differently, and understanding that there is no quote unquote right time. And so I just took a leap of faith, really.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's been unexpected challenges along the way, which we can get into. Can you give us a rundown on the mission of Octavia's Bookshelf?
Yeah, it's really just to promote literacy and instill a passion for reading for young people. It's to highlight, promote, celebrate, inspire readers to maybe choose books that they hadn't, or authors that they hadn't considered before. I want to celebrate the storytelling of BIPOC writers. I sometimes feel as though trauma books are really sort of books that people tend to read about as it relates to at least the Black experience. And those books are really important, but we also have stories that are funny and inspiring and, science fiction, fantasy, you name it. There are these incredible stories, and I just want everybody to have an opportunity to read them.
And so speaking of the challenges, we've seen a string of hate crimes recently, right here in Pasadena, such as the pride flag being burned at Pasadena Buddhist Temple, and the threats directed at All Saints, and a Black-owned boxing gym robbed twice.
Yeah.
Tell us about the disturbing incidents that have happened at Octavia's Bookshelf recently, and do you think those incidents at Octavia's Bookshelf were connected, and what has the community response been?
It's a little hard to talk about because it's so personal for me, but a day before I opened the store, someone left a bag of dog waste at the front door, and I had thoughts about it, but I thought, you know what, maybe this was a mistake. Maybe this was just some irresponsible dog owner who, just threw it, and it happened to land in front of my store, and I just kept going. And then about a month ago, someone left actual dog waste out of the bag in the back of my store at the doorstep. And then after that, we had the burglary. So I certainly feel that there's a connection somewhere. I made the mistake prior to opening of looking onto some Facebook pages about articles, about the store, and saw a lot of comments that were pretty upsetting. And so I believe there's a connection, but I also believe that the community around me is even bigger and stronger. And my customers came out in full force to help me cover the cost of repairs. Specifically, All Saints Church really stepped up, and lots of people from the community. We got tons of flowers and floral arrangements and thank you cards and I'm sorry. And we had, just a huge band of support, which tells me that this is still the right direction.
Uh-huh. And with the burglary, so that happened overnight, right? And
Yeah.
Took some money from the cash register?
Yeah, actually took the entire cash register.
Wow.
So, that was really disappointing. And, for something like that to happen, it felt really, there was this cringe factor, like this person has been in my store and there wasn't any physical damage to the books, but it just felt like there was, I had been defiled in some way, because my store really is a community center for everybody. And for that to happen, it really disappointed me and it hurt me a lot. Not only financially, but obviously emotionally.
Of course, yeah, it was like a violation.
Yeah.
On top of the monetary and other damages. Have you taken other security measures since then? Camera system, other things to strengthen it?
Yeah, we have outdoor cameras now, indoor cameras, window sensors, door sensors, an alarm system. So I really feel like, I put my best foot forward to sort of fill in the cracks where there were, some security issues. And at the end of the night, my husband comes by to help me lock up. And we're just being really safe, or trying to be as safe as we can in that respect. But I can't live feeling like, I'm under constant surveillance or scrutiny or that, something can happen again. I'm just going to continue to lead with love and integrity. And, I'm being smart about it too, but I know that our community will overcome that.
Absolutely. On a more uplifting note, last month was Octavia Butler's birthday. So tell us about her legacy and what she means to the Pasadena community and why you named your store after her.
Yeah, I was introduced to Octavia Butler her work when I was about 16. I read Kindred. And so that was in the late 80s. And I had read, a lot of sort of sci-fi fantasy. I had, but never really read a story with characters that looked like me or reflected sort of, my experience. And I was just floored at the way the story was told, and even more so to find out that she was a Pasadena native. And I just started to read everything I can get my hands on by her. And I have been a steadfast fan ever since. And I just, I was like, why don't people know that she's here? Or, she has this body of work. And, 10, 15, 20 years ago, I would ask people like, hey, have you read this book by Octavia Butler? And nobody knew what I was talking about. And I just thought that was such a shame because she has such a brilliant mind and she's one of our own. She's a Pasadena native. And so I always thought, if I had an opportunity to open a bookstore in Pasadena, I've lived here since I was 3 years old, and that was 46 years ago, that I want to honor our hometown legend. And I did that by calling the store Octavia's Bookshelf. I've had so many customers come in and say, I've never read her work before, or I didn't know she was from Pasadena. And then there are also tons of people who are very familiar with her work. So being able to, sell somebody a copy of Parable of the Sower, and it's their first intro to Octavia Butler, just makes me feel so good.
Yeah, she's great. She should be right up there with Jackie Robinson in terms of, she broke many barriers too and won all kinds of awards. And she's one of our own here in Pasadena.
Yes.
Tell us about the upcoming adult book fair with Mount Low Brewery.
Yeah, so we're doing that in partnership with Underdog Bookstore, which is a new bookstore in Monrovia, California. And in partnership with them, we are going to do an adult book fair. We started talking about, book nerds, we're always talking about scholastic book fairs and how awesome it was when you were a kid and you got to go to the book fair. It was like the highlight of the year for me. Yeah. And then we thought, what if we did an adult book fair? Like the only thing that would make it more amazing is, to be able to have a beer with your books. So we are super excited about it. We're going to have tons of books and beer. We're going to have drinks named for some of our favorite books. And for me, it would be an Octavia Butler inspired cocktail. And we'll have lots of book related items geared towards adult. And we just want to bring back that nostalgia. Being a grown up is hard. And, for all the people who were kids and loved the book fair, we just wanted to recreate that for adults. And so we couldn't be more excited.
That's great. And that's on in August?
Yes, it is the first weekend in August.
Okay, great. And any other planned events coming up?
Yeah, we have Rashid Newsom coming, the release of his paperback book, My Government Means to Kill Me. We are hosting him in August, and that's a huge deal. He lives in Pasadena. He's a WGA writer. He wrote this incredible novel. He's going to be in conversation with Tracy, who has a podcast called The Stacks, and it's a book club, or it's a podcast about books and authors. And so she'll be moderating the conversation. We're also looking forward to this next Saturday. We have a children's author coming in. She's a Pasadena local herself. Her name is Brianna Lynn, and she wrote a beautiful children's book called Dahlia's Dusk. And so she'll be at my store on the 29th of this month. There's going to be activities and little treats, and she's going to read her book. We have the adult book fair coming up. We have Jada Pinkett Smith coming to do a photo op and for her new memoir coming out in November. So we have a jam-packed calendar full of amazing events.
That's great. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of potential for partnerships and local author events and ways to expand it, which how we're thinking with the Pasadena Central Library undergoing renovations. How does it become more than just a book depository? How does it become a community center? Yeah. And a learning space? And it sounds like you're thinking through those same issues.
I am, and I'm in partnership with La Pintoresca Library, which is a library that Octavia Butler would walk to after school when she left Washington Middle School, which is now Octavia E. Butler Magnet School. She'd walk over to La Pintoresca. So we have a sci-fi book club going. Our first meeting was last month at my bookstore. This next book club meeting will be at La Pintoresca. The third one will be at the Huntington Library. So we're trying to do a lot of book related community-based activities just around Pasadena.
That's great. And finally, how can the Pasadena community help support Octavia's bookshelf?
Thank you so much for asking. I just, the next time you want a book and, before you hit buy now on Amazon, just think, I can run over to Octavia's bookshelf. If we don't have a book, we can always special order it. Think about us when you're looking to gift presents. We have amazing booksellers who do incredible personalized recommendations. So I would just say to continue to spread the word, please, come into the shop and just be in community with us and tell all your friends and family. And we're just going to make this whole concept an amazing place for Pasadenians and everybody else in the community.
Mhm. And let's give folks the address and website as well.
Yes. So you can find us online at www.octaviasbookshelf.com. We're on Instagram at Octavias_bookshelf, and we're located at 1361 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena, just north of Washington. And we're open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Awesome. I encourage everybody to go check it out. It's a really special place. So thank you so much, Nikki, for coming on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us about this important work that you're doing. It's really inspiring what you did. And I'm so glad the community is stepping up and supporting you through some of these unfortunate challenges, but also, joining in and help building these positive community building aspects of it as well.
Yes. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Before we go, here is this month in Pasadena history. It was this month in 2003 when the Gold Line light rail first opened from Sierra Madre Boulevard to Union Station. The name later changed to the L Line, and now that the regional connector has opened, it is known as the A Line and goes from Azusa all the way to Long Beach, which was the original idea decades ago. And it was originally going to be called the Blue Line. Much of the right-of-way for that track was actually originally built by the LA and San Gabriel Valley Railroad in 1885. Then it was the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway, featuring Amtrak service through 1994, when the conversion to light rail began. Thank you all so much for joining me for this episode of Pasadena Monthly. Tune in every fourth Friday of the month at 5 p.m. Learn more at pasadenamedia.org and justindouglaschapman.com. Drop me a line at jchapman@cityofpasadena.net. See you next time.